letting go of craving and no longer being dominated by the endless pursuit of being in control. And that happiness is really mental freedom. And obviously what you're experiencing, what I imagine you're experiencing at the moment, this sense of being stuck, the sense of being imprisoned by the endless thoughts and machinations that are going on within your mind, and wanting that to stop, and then intellectually understanding that letting go is going to be the path of freedom, and thinking, yeah, that's the route that I want to go down. But to also understand that with that, ultimately what one is doing is you're resisting your current state of mind, and you're wanting to be somewhere else. You're wanting to be this state of freedom, in this state of freedom, independent of circumstance, where you can be okay. But also, whilst it's a desirable place to get to ultimately, that the process of both resisting one set of circumstances and wanting another, and as we talked about a little bit before, it's about the distance between where one currently finds oneself and where one wants to be or thinks that one should be. It's the distance between those two that creates the suffering. And so the solution to this is to just deeply accept wherever one finds oneself at that time, and just to be okay with it. And even if it doesn't feel okay, it's just to accept and recognize, this is where I am now. I don't need to change it. I know it's painful. It's not what I wanted. But just to sit with that circumstance and not want to shift or alter or change it. And the process of acceptance, of surrender, is the key which will unlock some of that pain. But again, you can't expect it to. It's really that you can't trick it into doing that. You've really just got to go, you know what? I'm in pain. I'm hurting. It's not where I want to be, but I accept it. And it's the acceptance, it's that surrender, it's that letting go, it's that accepting where you are, how uncomfortable that may feel, which will be the key to unlocking.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here. The NSRI said that this was, one of the volunteers said this was the biggest search party they had ever witnessed. And I think it's testament to the incredible community of love. Yeah, It's testament to the family that Graham developed around him. It's testament to the community of love that he developed and the community of love towards him. And so a massive, massive thank you for being here today. My name's Roger Haynes. I'm a pastor at the Church Common Ground Bloberg that meets here. And their family asked me to officiate this moment, and it feels like an overwhelming privilege and also an overwhelmingly difficult task to stand before such an incredible bunch of people and to be able to rightly honor such a remarkable, remarkable life. And so thank you for the privilege of being able to host and help facilitate this moment. I didn't officially get to meet Graham myself, although I'm no doubt I shared the lineup with him multiple times. I hope I never dropped in on him or stole any of his waves, but I know that the story of his life goes ahead of him, and our condolences to you, Geraldine, to you, Richard, to Craig, Candace, and the wider family, and to everyone to whom he meant so much. Ecclesiastes 3, and I'm a unashamed follower of Jesus, and I love the scriptures. And I'm going to read Ecclesiastes 3, then I'm going to pray, and then we're going to watch a little video that Graham created. Ecclesiastes 3 says it like this: there's a time for everything, a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to search and a time to give up, a time to keep and a time to throw away, a time to tear down and a time to mend, a time to be silent and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Would you join me as we pray? Lord, this is a complex time, a time where our hearts are grieving, where our hearts feel so many of the feels that we don't actually know what to do with them. And yet we invite your wisdom and your grace to come help us. We remember that there is no God quite like you who understands the depth of pain and despair that every person here today may be feeling. We thank you that on the cross you revealed that you're not a God who watches from a distance, but you're a God who moves in on the pain of our deepest realities. And you love us through it and you care for us in it. And I pray today that you, Jesus, would reveal that incredible, remarkable, and overwhelming love that comes to us in our darkest of valleys. We thank you that you are wise, and we pray your wisdom would be on display today. We pray your comfort and your tenderness to be real to us in this time. Like those waves that Graham so loved to live in, I pray that the waves of your grace would crash upon the shores of our life today. We pray that in your name. Amen. If you could turn your eyes to the screens, which are up there, we're going to watch one of the videos that Graham himself created that I think so beautifully speaks of him and his brand and so much of what this community is all about. Okay, scratch that. We're going to take a moment to, I think, get these screens down. They seem to be a little bit stuck, but we can handle that, right? The next part of this moment is, and so we'll just tag the two videos together in a bit, but I'm going to ask the two musicians a song that became quite dear to Graham in these final days, and we're going to hear more people sharing some of their experiences of his life and some of the stuff that happened in recent months as his eyes began to open to something of the kindness of God. And one of the songs that was requested to be played was the song Oceans. And so these amazing musicians are going to lead us in that. And if you know the words, feel free to sing along. If you don't and you just want to listen to them, please feel free. I'm going to ask us to stand for this moment. And if you want to sing along, please feel free to do so.
oceans deep, my faith will stand, and I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. You're mine, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine, you're mine. Your grace abounds the deepest waters. Your sovereign hand will be my guide. My feet may fail, fear surrounds me. You never fail, and you won't start now. And I will call upon your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you may call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters, wherever you may call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. And I will call on your name and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine.
You can take a seat, thank you. Wow. Okay, I think we can now watch that video that we were about to watch.
Oh, Father, tell me, do we get what this love?
There's a calling that some answer and that others choose to ignore. Some say it's a movement about a movement. Others call it a collective of play. It's a feeling, a knowing, an extension of the extreme. We are a group, a collective, young and old, professional and amateur. The common goal we share is freedom, unbound by the limits and expressions.
You let your feet run wild. Time has come as we all go down. Yeah, but for the folk who my heart, do you dare to look them right in the eye?
We open our lives to the people who believe in us and are willing to make the ultimate sacrifice for the open road with a perfect wave at the end of it. In the search for perfection, in the most imperfect, uncontrolled, and wild conditions, which we survive and excel in. Call it a brand, a movement, a lifestyle, a new world culture. We are Dirty Habits.
We're going to hear a few tributes from family and friends alike. We're going to start with his brother, Craig.
Okay, I think that's on. Sure, it's a thing trying to put Graham's life into a speech. There's so many different parts of Graham. So many people knew Graham in so many different ways. And it's quite overwhelming to meet so many people that know my brother. And each person remembers him in a completely different way. And you just realize there's so many different ideas of him, but at the end of the day, there's just him, and he's bigger than all the ideas, and that gives me a lot of peace, just knowing that his legacy will go on, because he's just such a special person. So Graham's life was a journey. I saw him go on this journey, and it was a beautiful journey, a rough journey at times, bumpy journey, and I was blessed to be there from day one. Graham was my best friend. So is him and I against the world. Much of who I am as a person is because of my brother. We pushed each other, we played with each other, we fought with each other, we loved each other. Looking at all of you today, you'll find it hard to believe that Graham and I didn't have a lot of friends growing up. Yeah, we really didn't. We had one or two good friends from school, but we didn't have friends. We're both outsiders for different reasons. I used to show my love to Graham by trying to protect him and my family. As you know, trying to protect Graham is a hard job. Graham would show his love with compassion and support. Graham was always there for everyone with his soft heart. Graham stuttered so badly he could hardly say his name when he was younger. Now he's one of the best speakers I've ever heard. His words always filled with wisdom and with light. I've seen Graham struggle with many things. I've seen him excel in many things. I've seen him really struggle with depression, deep depression that I was worried about. I've seen him struggle with anxiety. I've seen him struggle with self-doubt. Graham didn't like who he was at a stage in his life. And it was so hard to see as his brother who looked at him as this most amazing human being, and he never saw it himself until the end. Mental health was really important to Graham. As a brother, our relationship had many ups and downs, and I regret nothing. We continuously challenged each other. We laughed together. We cried together. We prayed together. We traveled the world from being lost in Africa at night, not knowing where we were going, to chasing goats in Dubai in the desert, to being on pirate boats in Faroe Islands. He said at times, "I'm such a shit brother." And at times I agreed with him. I was always aware he tried his hardest. And to see his life transformed in his last few years is the biggest gift God has given me. Graham loved this story. I don't know if any of you know about the staff he found on the beach, but he found the staff on the beach. And he had so many, all Graham's clothes and all his designs all had so much symbolism behind them. And he found this staff, and he's also always been attracted to snakes on his clothing. I mean, every item of clothing that he's designed by hand has meaning behind it. It's something that's been in his life. So this is the story. So the Israelites were wandering around the desert, and they rebelled against God. God sent snakes to bite them, poisonous snakes that would kill them. So the people went to Moses and asked them for God to take away the snakes. God told Moses to put a bronze snake on a staff and raise it. God never took away the snakes, but whoever looked upon the snake on the staff would not die from its poison. God never removed the snakes or their poison, but casting your eyes on the snake meant you wouldn't die. Graham spent most of his life dealing with the snakes in his life and the poison in his life. But he looked at the snakes, and I saw him healed. And most of his problems with depression, anxiety, they weren't there anymore in the last few months. Everyone says how happy he was and how at peace he was. How he went from seeking approval to not needing approval, knowing true approval came from God. And that gave him a level of confidence and peace that warms my heart. I spoke to Graham a lot about God and about life and what it means to live. Just as Moses lifted up the snake in the desert, so the Son of Man must be lifted up. For God so loved the world that he sent his one and only Son into the world, so whoever believes in him shall not perish but have eternal life. I baptized Graham when he was 16. We both lost our way a bit since then, but we've both come back strongly to the Lord recently. He was 16, one of my proudest and happiest moments in life. In this hard time, I get a surreal feeling of comfort and peace, knowing that Graham found wisdom and peace in his life by looking upon the cross and putting his trust in Jesus Christ. Dear Graham, I'm blessed God chose you to be my brother. Thank you for your friendship, for your love, for being there for me and Mom in our darkest moments. Every single day I will remember you. You're the most beautiful soul I've ever known. My best friend and my brother.
Hi guys, my name is Mark Howes. I'm the youngest Howes, or the youngest brother. I actually live in Dubai where there's a lot of camels, actually a lot of wind, and we kite there. And I've tried to keep the legacy of the Howes family, of Graham's legacy there. And yeah, I've always thought of myself as a guardian angel in my family. And the passing of our other house boy, David. And I used to wear a guardian angel necklace. And what it resembled was to be there for my family, to have love, strength, and honor. And I hold that mantle very strong, and I hold it to this day. And I never really understood the background of it, but what I've realized in the past few days, being a little bit confused, was that Graham, most of what I held on that guardian angel was Graham passing down the mantle to me. And I have tried to make amendments with it and try to figure out what it means and what this all means. And I think that's the beauty of it all, was Graham touched us so well and he left. I can't imagine how many people are here right now. I'm still speechless. And I honestly, I thank you all so much, and he would love to see the amount of proudness and achievements that he left behind. And I'm sure he's looking down on all of us right now, being stoked with life. And one of the things I take into great value is brotherhood, and I'm sure all of you meant a great deal to him. And there's a poem actually that a Navy SEAL wrote, and I actually was with Graham the one day, and I was like to him, yeah, this poem really took us back. And it was by Tecumseh, and basically it was him saying that the sports that we did and the kite surfing being so hectic and adrenaline packed that one day, if anything happened, he would want me to pass it on. And it's actually in the movie, if you watch it, it's a paper airplane. And I never thought I would actually be able to throw the paper airplane, but I guess it's me now sailing it towards all of you. And this is how the poem goes. So live your life that the fear of death can never enter your heart. Trouble no one about their religion, respect others in their view, and demand that they respect yours. Love your life. Protect your life. Beautify all things in your life. Seek to make your life long and its purpose in the service of your people. When it comes your time to die, be not like those whose hearts are filled with the fear of death, so that when your time comes, they weep and pray for a little more time to live in their own, again in different ways. Sing your death song and die like a hero going home. Bye, bro. Love you.
For those who don't know, my name's Nick. Graham was my stepfather, and is, and will forever be. From around 2008, the dates are a little fuzzy. I was usually the one who was good with numbers, and he wasn't. But yeah. I want you all to take a second to look around at each other. And think about the one person we all have to thank for that. Not just because he decided to bounce, but we're all there for each other because of him. I truly believe he left the world with the strength to deal with him not being in it. And over the last week, I've been in contact with many of you, not all of you, but many of you. And every single conversation has meant the world. But the one thing that was uniform in every single one was every single person has been able to tell me a specific, beautiful story about the last time they saw Graham. Everyone had their own relationship with him, and he had a specific relationship with every single one of you here. Him and mine largely took in the form of storytelling. A few years ago, we made the mental health documentary together, along with Ryan Peacock and help from many of you. That was a real rite of passage for the two of us, and everyone involved. And the feedback and response that got was, I really think, the moment that he became the person, or he started taking the steps to be the person that you all knew him to become. And part of that storytelling, as much as you all know that version of Graham, the one out in the water or out on the dance floor, mine and my mum's was on the couch, watching TV shows. He loved Friends, he loved 2.5 Men, and he loved ice cream. And he would always have his dessert, whatever it was. Everything was his favorite. Whatever he was currently eating was his favorite dessert. And he would always have his lie on his Christmas bed, which I learned from him, his bowl here, his spoon in his big left hand, like a shovel, and then he would eat like that, shovel it into his mouth, then watch a bit of the scene, and then come back. My mum and I would always make fun of him, not just for that, but for everything he did. He was always the light in our day, every day. And I want to tell you a little story about the last film that Graham and I watched. We always did quite a lot, and we always had very, very in-depth discussions about storytelling and life and the story we want to leave for those around us. And it was around 3 weeks ago, Sunday, where we watched, sounds a bit goofy right now, but I swear it'll make sense, the 2005 hit film starring Orlando Bloom, Kingdom of Heaven. It's about a young man who feels that all hope is lost and decides to go to the Holy Land between the true story, Second and Third Crusade, and then finds the strength within himself to defend Jerusalem. But at one point, he was very engrossed in this film, but he only asked me to stop it once. But he watched the same scene 3 times. He asked me to rewind it. And it's from the Knights Hospitaller, once Orlando Bloom is saying, I'm not sure, he has full of self-doubt. And his friend tells him, I put no stock in religion. By the word of religion, I have seen the lunacy of fanatics of every denomination be called the will of God. Holiness is in right action, and the courage on behalf of those who cannot defend themselves, and goodness. What God desires is in your mind and in your heart. And what you decide to do every day, you will be a good man or not. I think we all know what choice he made. One more time, I'd like you to all look around. I remember during the first Mudita, legendary night, one of the things that everyone came up to him and pointed out, and the thing that he cherished most about that particular event, was that people noticed that, unlike other events like that, people weren't just watching the DJ or in the corner. Everyone was in the middle, facing each other. That's what he wanted. That's how it'll be. Thank you, Graham.
I'm not that tall.
beautiful. Yeah, bear with me. I think this will be probably the most difficult thing I've had to do so far in my life. Graham, my G, our captain. There are no words to describe how much you meant to Candace, to Nick, to your family, to the community, and to me. You took me under your wing, but treated me like a wingman, showing me what it takes to hustle hard while still caring deeply for others. You pushed yourself to the absolute limit while looking after your body and mind, giving everything you had in every moment, whether the cameras are rolling or not. You turned every situation into a story, every conversation into a life lesson or a laugh, and you always gave the most meaningful, thoughtful advice, whether to a close friend, someone you had just met, or to a super fan. There were plenty of those. I'll miss leaning on you for the golden advice. I'll miss the late night chats until the birds were chirping, talking about dirty habits and how we were going to take over the world. I'll miss the spontaneous missions and the crew activations. I'll miss the selfies you send me, the I'm working selfie, the I'm late because I'm pooping selfie, and the you're missing out selfie. I'll miss hearing your ridiculous stunt ideas, the big dreams you shared, and the vision you carried for the future. We'll carry on with your mission, keeping your light alive in each of us, in every day, in every activity, and in every moment. You've left one of the biggest positive marks on this world, and we are so proud of you. All you ever wanted was to build a community that loves and looks out for one another. You did it under a brand so people could have a flag to rally behind, to feel part of this beautiful collective, a collective that makes the most of every situation. You often doubted how powerful it really was. But if you could see the messages of impact you had on people's lives and how everyone mobilized near and far in the search for you, you'd be so, so proud. You didn't just create a brand, G. You created a family, and that family will never let your legacy fade. My heart is so sore, aching from the peace that has been ripped away, and I know it'll never be the same again. But it brings me peace, knowing that after a long, rocky road, with all its ups and all its downs, your state of mind was finally in a place you wanted it to be, that you had found peace, and that makes me happy. I love you, G.
Beautiful, Jason. Standing here today, it feels unreal. I never imagined speaking about Graham past tense. You're such an easy soul to love. You had this spark that drew people. You really saw people. You lifted them up. And you gave yourself fully to all of us around you. Some of the best times with you when we ended up stranded in some far off place on the other side of the world with no plan. That's when we had the absolute best time of our lives. You're brave, not just the way you live your life, but in the way you let us see your struggles. By doing that, you gave us all the permission to be real. You had the courage to face darkness, and still, you always chose the light. 2 weeks ago, when I shared the last beer with you here in Cape Town, I asked you if you realized the impact you had on our industry, on your friends, and the community you built. If I would have asked you that question 6 months earlier, you would have said no, but this time you said yes, and I remember feeling so proud of you, so moved that that you're finally able to acknowledge how much you meant to all of us. If I've asked you one last piece of advice on what I was supposed to do now, you'd probably just smile and say, well, my friend, that sounds like a Nick problem. That bastard. The void you've left feels unbearable, and yet I know you're still here with us. Your spirit is alive, and in everyone you touched, in the stories we'll keep telling, in the eyes of Candace and Nick, your brother Craig, Geraldine, Richard, Mark, and the rest of your beautiful family. Ride in peace, Graham.
Should have wrote on a bigger piece of paper. Nothing really prepares you to stand here to speak at your friend's funeral, capturing the life of someone we all loved into 2-3 minutes, especially the life of Graham, who I call Opa, because we were getting older. So bear with me. Firstly, Jerry, Richard, Craig, Mark, uncles, aunts, cousins, family, Nicholas, Candace, my heart bleeds for you every minute of the day. I wish I can make the pain go away. I wish I can have words to comfort you. What I can say is that I know how much you loved him, how much he loved you all. He often told me this and reminded me that we should cherish family. Candace, for 17 years, you guys shared a love so special. A love so strong that no outside noise could derail. Everything he'd done, every plan he made, some good and often some very questionable, you were always his biggest and number one fan. The way he could make you laugh, his stupid magic shows he would do for us, the silly dances, the jokes we heard 1,000 times. Only we knew we were actually laughing at him and not with him. I know you both were truly happy he found himself through you. You were his happy place. Nicholas, I have watched you grown over the years from this little rugrat that you were to the great man that you are today. And Graham was part of that. He was always there to support you, to guide you, but more importantly, to be your friend. He never wanted to act as your dad, tell you what you can and cannot do. He simply just loved and supported you. I see a part of him in you when I look at you today. When I stand here today, I don't just see people. I see love, friendships, memories, and the close community you build. He would be so damn proud, I know that for sure. And I can stand here and tell many stories, but we only have a couple of hours and we might need some months. So the truth is that we actually all had our own story with him and a connection. You know, I would light up a room when he walked in. At the same time, he'd probably pull my pants down, set my hair on fire, laughing uncontrollably. I guess that was his way of telling me he loves me. We would speak endlessly about life, our deepest fears, worries, joys, and what made us happy. We spoke about what we wanted Dirty Habits to be and what we didn't want it to be. We made stupid plans, got excited about new business ideas. And Candace, you sat there all excited for us. And then also told us to turn the music down because you have guests downstairs. I'm telling this because I wish you could see this now. The dream never had a destination. I come to realize over the last few days, seeing the lives you have impacted, how we as a community are there for each other, that the dream has been lived every day. Lastly, Graham left us a wish and he wrote something for us, and in case this day might come, and I'd like to share some sentences with you. And I'm going to do this with Nick and Jason.
The Dirty Habits crew continues to write, create, and inspire in my name. The brand remains a symbol of freedom, rebellion, creativity, and passion for life.
Yep.
Protect the crew. Dirty Habits was never just a business. It's a brotherhood, a family. I want you to look out for each other, have each other's backs, and make sure no one gets left behind.
Carry on the spirit of fun and chaos. It's not all about extreme sports. It's about laughter, mischiefs, and living each day and stay strong together.
I want the madness, the fun, the vibe to continue because that's the soul of Dirty Habits. Grow the legacy. I want the boys just to not maintain the brand, but to grow it, make it louder, wilder, and stronger, take it to places I've always dreamed of.
Stay true. No sellouts, no watering it down. We built Dirty Habits as a raw, real, and I want you to stay authentic to that DNA.
So, Opa, you might not be the captain of our ship anymore, but I promise you we'll make sure that this boat keeps sailing the way you want it to. We're going to miss you, man.
Graham Guy Howes. Graham, named after my late father who passed at 33, and Guy, my brother. He was born with a smile on his face, a glint in his eye, a pocketed charm, and a sprinkle of sulkiness. You only had to go kiting without him to realize the sulkiness. Graham's first extreme sport started when he was about 2, and we bought him a BP plastic motorbike that his feet could just touch the ground. We lived on a steep hill that got steeper towards the end, and the one day he took off down this hill and I was running after him and I couldn't keep up. He eventually got a tank slap on a BP little plastic bike, and every time the handlebars started to move, he had his little feet kicking the bike up and one side to the other side. And by the time he got to the bottom of the hill, there was a cloud of dust, and I got to him, and I couldn't even stand up. I was so tired from running down the hill after him. And I had my hands on my knees, and I looked at him, and he looked up at me, and he just started laughing. And that was the start of Graham's adventure sports. Graham wasn't the most competitive child, and on many a sports day, after you run around, Craig and Graham were about 5 and 7, and they wanted to have a race around the track. So off they went. Craig was gone like a scolded cat, and he was back, and I think Graham had run about 10 meters. He had patted a dog, he had swung on the rugby posts, and he just wasn't interested at all. The only time you could motivate Graham was point a camera at him, and then he would start to perform. And I know how he loved the King of the Air and what that did for him. He wrote out checks that he couldn't cash. When Graham learned to kite, he used to come to Dubai on the first flight of the school holidays and come and stay with me and Chantel and Mark. And when he was 14, I gave him a kite. We flew it around for a bit, and he took off, and I said to him, just go down and try and come back, but you'll come back like 100, 200 meters down the beach. Well, he took off, he did a perfect stop, turned around, came straight back to me, and I looked at him and I said, why did you come back? He goes, sharks. As Craig mentioned, at school, they didn't have a lot of friends. It was a difficult time for Graham. He wasn't really that accepted. So he decided he would play rugby. And he got in the school team, but they always used to say to him, he was a wing with the speed of a prop. The school came to Dubai for the rugby sevens, and Graham obviously came with the team, but as a reserve. and mainly because he could stay with us and we could host a whole lot of the other kids. So, so every day he went to the sevens. He sat on the sideline. They never let him play. They never gave him even a run on the field. And he came back, and my heart was breaking for him that he wasn't included. Anyway, he came back to the school, and then they had the provincial trials. And Graham was the only one selected for the province. And he walked around school with his colors on, and nobody else had for rugby. Geraldine, as his mom, I mean, we don't have to talk about love and all that, but you always put your kids first, our kids. And so there's one thing I never had to worry about with you was they were always safe in your hands. And thank you for that. To Craig, you all heard how much Craig loved him and how much he respected him and how much he protected him. And Graham always used to say to Craig, come off the wall, Craig. Come into the castle. You don't have to walk the wall. And Craig's still walking the wall today. Candace, I met you for the first time at Graham's 21st. And I must say that it was really great that you had a castle for Graham to feel safe in. And I love the fact that he, in times when he wasn't, that in the difficult times he went through, that he could always come home and know that he was safe there. And thank you for that.
Thank you.
Dirty habits. When Graham was thinking about this brand, he came to me and he said, yeah, he's got a couple of names that he wants to, pass by me. So I said, yeah, what are they? He said, well, Wet and Wild was the first one. So I said to him, maybe you want to put that in a Google search engine. Anyway, he decided on Dirty Habits, and I'm sure we're all pleased that he chose that name. It was a tribe for everyone, young and old, pro and amateur. He accepted everybody into the tribe and made everybody feel welcome. There was a gentleman here that I met earlier this evening. His name was Vic. He's from Angola. And he came and he stayed at the guest house. And Graham never let him go out on his own. He took this gentleman out. I don't know if he was a kiter, but Graham looked after him. And he came to me and he told me what a special person Graham was. And that was Graham. Graham went through that difficult stage of his life, and he came up with the movie We Need to Talk. And I think one of Graham's proudest moments was when he won the GKA award for the social contribution. I remember talking to him that day, and that made him really happy. I don't know how many of you got to listen to that voice note that Graham sent to Craig. I think it's just over 2 minutes long, about finding the staff and how happy he was. I think it was just peaceful for all of us to know that in the last few months that Graham found his happiness. And on that fateful day, I know Graham, when he was kiting, before I actually say this, if any of you know Graham, you'll know when he gets into a tricky situation, he feels, or he gets uncomfortable, or you catch him out, he uses his nervous energy for a little giggle. Like he's got a grin and he'll like, ha ha, and then he'll, that's the way he used to handle it. So on that fateful day, when he was separated from his kite and his board, and he was in the water, I can just imagine him chuckling, going, now I'm in trouble. But with Graham, all I hope that Graham was out there watching helicopters flying in the evening, watching that red moon come up, and then just reciting the Lord's, his favorite poem. The Lord is my shepherd, I lack nothing. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside quiet waters. He refreshes my soul. He guides me along the right path for his name's sake. Even though I walk through the darkest valley, I will feel no evil, for you are with me, your rod and your staff, they comfort me. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup overflows. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. To Graham, I just know that that day he would have been in the water thinking of this, and that gives us peace.
When did you say the NSRI?
The NSRI. What can we say about the NSRI? I mean, it's not a profit organization. They work on contributions. It's just amazing that they went out there through the night, the next morning. They're just a great organization, and I just can't thank you. There's barcodes on those posters for anybody who feels that they would like to donate to them. But it's great that we can be out there and know that they've got our back. So I'm sure a lot of safety will come up after this now, and hopefully we'll see something that makes us all a bit safer, that we're not out on our own. Thank you.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you all for coming. Anything else?
What more can we say? The Lord's Prayer is Psalm 23, should I say. It's the Psalm of David, and we're going to put it up on the screen if we can. And it's just been read. I want to make a few comments. David, the guy who wrote it, I think would have had a lot of common with Graham, believe it or not. You might go, hey, you didn't look like a religious guy. Maybe you yourself, wow. Still alive, I promise. Let me try that again. This guy, King David, who wrote this Psalm 23, which Richard, Graham's dad, imagines him reciting, which he sent in a voice note and was reflecting on, is one of the most profound passages. And some people might go, could he be compatible? Could the dirty habits reality be compatible with a psalm like this? It's in the Bible, it's in the sacred scriptures, it's full of holier than thou people. And yet, if I look at the author, the poet, has so much in common. I think of his willingness to slay giants and to face his fears. The external giants and the internal ones, whether it's massive waves or bears in David's case, or lions, or literal giants or waves in Graham's case, or radical kite surfing moves that I can't name because they seem to get longer and longer each time. But the point is that he was a poet, but he was also a brave man, hungry for adrenaline. And yet he somehow knew that wasn't what he needed. The ongoing search to find a freedom. I think of what Graham said in that beautiful video. He says, we're a group, a collective, young and old, professional and amateur. The common goal we share is freedom. A remarkable pursuit that almost all of us share is this longing for freedom. I know it as well as you do, as well as Graham did. This desire to find freedom somehow and in some way. And if there is something that David had that many of us struggle to find, is that ability to find freedom. And I want to suggest in a few words that he found it in the most remarkable and unsuspecting place. In this psalm, he found it in the description of a shepherd. And maybe the question today, as we remark and we think and we reflect on Graham's life, is, well, who is the shepherd of our hearts? Who's the shepherd of your heart? It's an important question, and it's one that we shouldn't rush out of and quickly ignore. There really aren't many options when it comes to choosing a shepherd for your life. You can choose yourself, which is what most of our hyper-individualistic society tend to choose these days. I am the master of my own destiny, and I will shepherd myself towards my freedom and my joy. It's just that it's not that easy. It's really tough. I watched Graham's documentary on mental health, and man, was I moved by the beauty of his honest reflection on his life. I was particularly moved because I could relate. I know what it feels like to be inside, and he described himself. He said, I am in my house. The waves are cooking, but I can't get out of my house. I'd rather be here in this dark space than knowing that even though I know that out there there's something better, I can't get up. I can't motivate myself to go there. I'm so grateful for the stories I've heard over the last while of how he began to discover something of this freedom that he couldn't discover in himself. You see, the one option is that you could say, I'll be my own shepherd. The other option is you could say, I'll find something in creation that could be my shepherd. I'll find the perfect wave, or the perfect adventure, or the perfect companion, or the perfect career, and that thing will give me what I long for. And man, are we good at running down towards that and trying every way we possibly can to let that thing shepherd us into the happiness we want. But any honest human being knows that even that doesn't work. Graham was the first to admit it publicly and profoundly, to go, even that isn't working. The perfect wave, as wonderful as that high was, it dropped me off the other side. I know that feeling. The answer, I suppose, I want to suggest to you today that he was beginning to discover, and man, one of my griefs is that he didn't have longer to enjoy it. Because so many people think of Christianity and they think of the story of the Bible and they think it's all about how do I get to heaven? And we forget that actually God has asked the question, how do I get heaven back to earth? How do I get that freedom back into these souls that I love so much? How do I shepherd their hearts towards the freedom that they so badly need? So many of us think of freedom as the absence of restrictions. You know, if we could just have less restrictions, life would be better. Except that the wise know that that just doesn't work. Like putting a train on a beach. It's not any better off. It might be happy to get the view of the waves, but it's not on the tracks where it was meant to be. The human soul is not meant to be able to choose what it wants. It's meant to have a wise and loving shepherd to take it towards what it needs. That's what Graham was beginning to discover, that the Lord is his shepherd and that he lacks nothing when he goes towards him. That he need not long for other things if he has God's incredible grace. That actually he makes him to lie down in green pastures and he leads him beside still waters. And that God, in his amazing love, can refresh the soul. This is a hard message to hear for many who go, I've moved on from religion. Well, as Dakota Fanning might have said, he might have moved on from religion. There may be a reality that you could move on from religion, but I would suggest that God doesn't want religion for you either. He wants relationship. He's not a God who wants more from you as much as he wants relationship with you. He wants to guide you on paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though we walk through the darkest of valleys, we need fear no evil. For you are with me. Your rod and your staff, they comfort me. I won't keep you much longer, but speaking of him discovering a rod, there's this beautiful picture, or discovering a staff on the beach. The amazing picture that God has a rod and a staff in his hand. A good shepherd would carry a rod and he would beat off everything that came to try to attack or harm the sheep. And the staff would be the thing that would pull the sheep from running away if they wanted to. And man, are human beings good at both, of finding ourselves wandering away and also tempted. We're good at living out the dirtiest of habits that we possibly can find. And I'm the chief of those. We don't have a person who can look and go, nobody lived out dirty habits. No, we all tend towards dirty habits. It's a remarkable ability that the human heart has to go and live out the dirtiest and the worst that we possibly can. That's why we need a good shepherd. That's why this amazing God comes towards us, not because we got it all right, but because we got it all wrong. I love the story that he got baptized 20 years ago. I love it because it tells the story that a Christian, a person who knows Jesus, is not a person who gets baptized and gets it all right thereafter. Some of you are going, what exactly is baptism? It's like an assisted duck dive. Imagine that. Somebody plunges you under the water and pulls you back out. That's pretty much what it is, except it's got spiritual symbolism. It speaks about the start of a relationship with God. It speaks about the amazing ability of God to forgive our sins, to give us a fresh start, to make things new again. And how amazing, how cool is it that 20 years ago, he gets baptized, God makes him new. And you guys look at me and you go, I know what happened in the last 20 years in his life. That wasn't all Christian. Right? Cool. That's the point. Romans chapter 8 says it like this, for I am convinced that neither death nor life, neither angels nor demons, neither the present nor the future, nor any powers, neither height nor depth, nor anything in all creation will be able to separate us from the love of God that is in Christ Jesus. God's not calling perfect people. He's calling people with the dirtiest of habits. And I believe that if Graham had sooner discovered that God was never going to let him go, that no matter how rocky the graph of his life might look and how well he did or how dirtily he lived, it mattered not. Because those the Father gives, he never lets anyone snatch them out of his hand. That's what the scriptures say. He held him. And I imagine that as he reflected in these last 6 months and he looked back and he said, wow, I was baptized 20 years ago, but man, I didn't live like that. That he would have possibly reflected and go, wow, but he never gave up on me. And if you want to understand the wonder of the goodness of the Good Shepherd, then don't look at your preconceptions of what it means to be a Christian and think, oh, it means to morally, match up. No, what it means to be a Christian is to realize that you've never matched up. And that although your life is dirty, he got his hands dirty. And beyond all imagination, the God who created us came into the world and got his hands dirty and lived amongst us. And the only one who shouldn't have died ended up dying so that we could live. The only one who was never dirty got soiled so that we could get cleaned. That's the wonder of the gospel. That's what freedom is all about, is to say, actually, I need a good shepherd. I need someone who can come and save my soul and give me a life worth living. And I don't need to be in control of it because he made me and he knows me best. I'll read the last bits and then we will close. Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life, and I'll dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Surely goodness and love will follow me, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. There's a famous guy, Dallas Willard, who walked beautifully closely to God all his life. And he was on his hospital bed and he was about to pass away. And his final words were simply this. As his friend looked at him, he said, "Thank you." And he wondered, this friend, he said, I wonder if those were his first words in the next life or his last words in this life. He felt so aware of this wondrous connection between this life and the next. Let me land, and we're going to watch a short video, but I just want to, I suppose, ask you today, who is the shepherd of your soul? How's that shepherd doing? And are you open to letting a better shepherd shepherd you the way that maybe your soul most desperately needs it? Let's turn our eyes to the screen.
So this is a diary entry to me.
younger than the sun. Yeah, the bonnie boat was one as we sail into the mystic. Oh, I can now hear the sailors cry, smell the sea and feel the sky. Let your soul and spirit fly into the mystic. And where that foghorn blows, I will be coming home. Yeah, when the foghorn blows, I wanna hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And magnificently we will fold into the mystic. When that foghorn blows, you know I will be coming home. Yeah, when that foghorn whistle blows, I gotta hear it. I don't have to fear it, and I wanna rock your gypsy soul, just like way back in the days of old. And together we will fold into the mystic. Come on, girl. Too late to stop now.
Another turning point, a fork stuck in the road. Time grabs you by the wrist, directs you where to go. So make the best of this test and don't ask why. It's not a question but a lesson learned in time. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. So take the photographs and still frames in your mind, hanging on a shelf in good health and good time. Tattoos and memories and dead skin on trial. For what it's worth, it was worth all the while. It's something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life. It's something unpredictable, but in the end it's right. I hope you had the time of your life. something unpredictable, but in the end is right. I hope you had the time of your life.
So back at the airport, another mission on the way, like we have with the original OG, Captain Richard Howes, who's flying us today, my dad. This is where it all started. He taught me to kite, and now we're here on the way to Dubai for some good adventures. Just to have Graham in the aeroplane with me. See you next time.
So you think you can tell heaven from hell, blue skies from pain? Can you tell a green field from a cold steel rail, a smile from a veil? Do you think you can tell? Did they get you to train your heroes for ghosts, hot ashes for trees, hot air for a cool breeze, cold comfort for change? Did you exchange
That is the wisdom, the fact that I am praying, that I am open to it, that I have received it. And yeah, it's funny, we're always asking for things to be different. We think that prayer is asking for God to do something, and He's already done it. It's already in our lives. He's made us in the image of Himself. We have the potential to be a shepherd, to be a king. It's all in us already, but it's through prayer that we can remember these things and find them that are in us and be given to us already. And I just found that such a comforting feeling to now pray, to be reminded of these things, not to ask for these things. So yeah, interesting. So, well done, Graham. I love you.
So on behalf of Richard and Geraldine and the family, thank you for being here. I think Graham said it better than any of us. And please don't rush off. There's drinks and snacks. So please let's stay to celebrate a remarkable man. Thanks very much.
Have I told you lately that I love you? Have I told you there's no one above you? Fill my heart with gladness, take away my sadness, ease my trouble, that's what you do. All the morning sun and all its glory, reach the day